There are a few different things that can go wrong with your Mac's LED screen. We will walk you through solutions to all of the following problems: no picture on the entire screen, jumbled picture or picture repeating on every panel, one entire panel showing something incorrectly, part of the screen going out, or one module of a panel not operating correctly. We are going to start with when there is no picture on the entire screen. Our video processor should tell us everything we need to know to get this resolved. First thing to check is if we are getting signal to the processor. If it says no signal, there are a few things that we need to check. First, do we have the correct input selected on the processor? Second, do we have the correct input selected on our HDMI switch? Third, is our source powered on and connected via HDMI? And lastly, is everything connected correctly in the back? If we have a resolution but still nothing on the board, the next thing to check is if our processor is sending signal to the LED screen. In the bottom left corner of the window on the processor, it shows the available data ports. The size of your screen will determine how many data ports are used, but at least one of them should always be lit up. The things to check here are the connection on the back of the processor and the connection at the screen. A couple other things that are good to know on the processor is the scale button. This can cause the picture to look too big or too small. The picture-in-picture button could cause the screen to be blank as well. Make sure this is off unless using two separate inputs. Lastly, being able to change brightness is an important function of the processor. Push the menu knob in, first option is brightness, click in the knob again and scroll to your desired brightness. Next two issues are resolved doing configuration with the computer and the processor. First step here is to make sure you have your USB cable connecting the computer and the processor. If the screen is jumbled or repeating, we need to resend the mapping file. Make sure to turn the scale button back on after resending the mapping. If there is only one panel that isn't showing the correct picture, we need to resend the receiving card file. Make sure to reset brightness after resending. If only one part of the screen is going out, the first step is to establish where the disconnect is. It is very important to understand how power and data are ran on your screen. This will help you find the issue. Using the indicator lights on the back of each panel, you should be able to figure out where the problem is. Each panel should have a solid red light that shows it is getting power. There should be a blinking green light on each panel to show data when the screen is working properly. They should all be blinking in unison. If you find panels without a red light, that is where your issue is starting. Similarly, if the part of the screen is blinking green together and the other part is off rhythm, that's where you are losing data. There are a few things to try to fix this. First, try to unplug and replug your data and power jumpers. Then, try a new data or power jumper depending on which one is the issue. If that doesn't solve it, then we will need to change the hub or the power pack on one of the two panels that is causing the disconnect. To figure out which one, you can troubleshoot and see if the panel isn't sending power or signal to the next one, or if the next one isn't receiving it. To do this, you will bypass the second panel. Once you have determined which hub needs to be replaced, you will disconnect all the wires going into it, undo the 4 clips on the sides, and pull the hub out. Then grab a new one from your spare parts and make sure your gasket is still in there to keep water out. Push the new hub in, clip in all 4 clips, and plug the cables back in. That should solve the connection issue. If there is a single module out, or it has a line of pixels out, there is only one solution: changing that module. To change the module, you will first remove the hub. Then you must unscrew the module. When it is loose, you will push it out. The most important part of replacing a module is making sure you put the correct side back in. There are specific modules for the left and right side. Once you have determined you have the matching side, place the module back in, screw it back in tightly, put the hub back in, and you'll be up and running.